I'm a true champion.
Superkill! Mamma mia!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. I am your host, Aeron, the harbinger of professional wrestling and arguably the most unpopular host of wrestling podcasts in all of the United Kingdom and beyond. Oh dear, cry me a river. So, on tap for you today, more content to keep your time ticking over, trying to keep you entertained in such a difficult time, which is, of course, this ridiculous pandemic. It keeps rolling on, but all the while it rolls on and beyond, Wrestle Plug will be rolling on with the content. Brit Rest interview once again. Hot off the heels of Aurora coming on the podcast from the Reach Academy comes Echo Reed. She's the baby of the bunch, but do not be fooled. This young lady has got an incredibly bright future, and she knows how to take punishment, and she knows how to dish it out too. I have it on good authority that she knows how to throw a chop right back, so don't think you can take liberties with the baby of the bunch at Reach Academy. So Echo Reed swung by the Wrestle Plug to discuss a multitude of things with me. What she likes to panic eat before her matches, what the debut process was like, what the training process at Reach Academy is like, and ultimately she was just a really cool person and a great person to chat to. So, without further ado, it's time for you to hear all about the wonderful talent that is Echo
Reed. What's the go-to food then for Echo Reed? Once you've completed the contest, once you've had your match, everything's been done, the ring's been taken down, what does Echo Reed like the most? Are you one of these Nando's warriors like a lot of indie wrestlers are? Do you have a specific? Because I know a lot of guys.
I've gone to work after a match before and literally just had my break, just stuff my face with Five Guys, to be fair. But the go-to for me usually is I'm really lazy. If I'm really tired after a match, or like if I'm helping with the ring, I just want to get something quick, so I'll literally just go KFC or McDonald's. I'm not very healthy at all.
I'm so jealous. I eat that stuff and I just die.
It doesn't really go anywhere, so.
No, that's fair enough. Plus, you're really young, aren't you? Like, you're one of the younger people at the Reach Academy. So
yeah,
exactly. So you ain't got to worry about putting on calories for at least 10 years. You know, me and Silverback, we got to work at our physiques, man. So. Okay, I have to get into the fact that you work at Five Guys. I'm really fascinated by that because obviously Five Guys is really fascinating, although I'm so jealous, those milkshakes, man. But what's it like being a full-time worker, but then also going into wrestling as well? I always like to ask wrestlers this because so many wrestlers I know have full-time. People don't realise, okay, you are a superhero, but superhero still got to earn that money. So superhero got to go to work. And you, like so many others, are an incredibly talented individual, but you also have to work really hard outside of wrestling. Do you find that it's a real strain, or do you enjoy the idea of that grind? Because some wrestlers genuinely hate their job, but you seem to enjoy your job.
I didn't think I would enjoy it when I first got the job. I was like, okay, it's going to be a nightmare, really. But I actually really enjoy it. It's a pretty easy job. People there are actually really nice. And I found a job where I actually like all my managers, which is really strange. Never thought that would happen. But beforehand, I'm still part-time now just because my contract hasn't changed. Because I'm September, I was a year behind, kind of in school. So I had to do the extra year. I like people born the same year as me. So I've only just finished college because of this whole lockdown. So before that, I was doing 3 shifts a week, which are all 8-hour-long shifts. Going to college, going to the gym, and then going to training 4 times a week. So my weeks are just full. And at first it was really, really difficult. But then I realized I kind of need to do it all. If I want to do this, I have to do the grind, basically. I have to put all my effort in.
At what point does Echo Reed sit there and think, I want to be a wrestler? Have you always loved wrestling? Because you're very young, so obviously we don't know whether it's just something that's you've just got into, or when you were an absolutely tiny baby, which I imagine most of the guys down at training probably still refer to you as.
I am the baby, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. What that means is that you've got a much longer career than the rest of us. But when was the first time you remember watching wrestling and thinking, that's what I want to do? I want to be a superhero. I want to be a superstar, a physical, vicious superstar.
So, like, I have two older brothers, and they both had it on constantly, but I never really knew what I was watching. I just kind of knew, like, oh, this is pretty entertaining. But I didn't really understand what it was until I was, like, 7, 8. And I remember, like, going up to them saying, oh, I want to do that. That'd be cool to do one day. So, like, because they saw I was interested, they made me watch all the old pay-per-views from, like, the Attitude Era and things like that, because, obviously, I was born in 2001. I missed all the good stuff. So they made me watch all the crazy, like, TLC matches, like, from, like, the Hardys and Dudleys and, like, Edge and Christian that they did. And, like, I was so, like, in awe of it all. And I kind of, like, lost it for a bit as I grew up, because, like, girls weren't really into wrestling in my school. So never really had that thing where, oh, I want to be a wrestler. That kind of faded away until I was about 16. And I think I was watching WrestleMania that year, because I got to the point where I was just watching pay-per-views. I wasn't really watching anything else. And I remember thinking, oh my God, wow, like, that would be amazing to do. Like, I really want to try that. So I remember, like, I messaged WAW, because I knew they do, like, a summer, like, week camp. And I basically booked in to do that in the summer of, like, it was last year, so just off my 17th. But I didn't really want to wait until, like, August to do that. So I remember, like, just kind of going about it. I remember I started watching wrestling, like, daily, basically. And I saw the poster for TNR 1, and I was like, there's wrestling in Plymouth? Like, I had no clue. I remember just, like, dropping them a message and being like, right, do you have, like, a training school? Because I would really love to do it. So they're like, yeah, just come on down. And I remember being, like, so terrified on my first day. Like I was so shy before. And, like, being a 17-year-old, just, like, walking in. I was an hour early because I didn't want to be late. So I, like, panicked a bit there. And I remember, like, everyone walked in, and I was like, oh my God, what have I got myself in for? I was so terrified, because everyone's bigger than me, obviously. So I was like, just, like, very quiet. I didn't really talk to anyone. And then, like, the first person I spoke to was Jason King. And he was just like, Rhiannon, right? I was like, yeah, that's me. So it was a very weird experience. But I came back, and I realized, literally, first session, I was hooked. I realized that was what I wanted to do. It took me a while to get there, but definitely realised that wrestling was basically what I was made for.
The question I always ask people is, what was your first bump like?
First bump, right. So I didn't understand what tucking your chin meant, because I was pretty stupid, I'm not gonna lie.
Uh-oh.
So I was, like, kind of just making a double chin face. Like, I didn't understand that, like, literally move your neck. I didn't realise that was the thing. So I remember doing, like, 3 in a row, and I was just like, oh wow, that really hurt. I didn't really get the memo until Joe 7 was like, you need to do this, love. And I was like, oh, okay. And, like, the day after, I remember it felt like I'd been in a car crash. It felt rotten, but that was my own fault, because I didn't really listen. So it's my own fault. I didn't tuck my chin.
Oh, you still would have felt that way anyway. Well, I did anyway. I always remember, that's exactly what my trainer said to me. Like, my first training session, I remember my trainer, Rishi Ghosh, said to me, tomorrow you're going to feel like you're in a car crash, so make sure you have a nice hot bath. And I thought, okay. And I thought, yeah, it's whatever, mate. Like, I've watched wrestling. I know it's physical. I've never underestimated it, but I thought car crash might be a bit extreme. I mean, I've been in one of those, and, you know, with all due respect, that doesn't seem like that. And then literally I woke up the next morning like, oh God, where's my body?
Like, so bad. Like, I used to do, like, trampoline wrestling as a kid. So it's like, I was like, oh, I can land on my back. It's fine. It doesn't hurt. No, that's a trampoline. Like, it's not wood and a little bit of padding. It's gonna hurt. But I didn't really comprehend. I can't speak today. Apparently, I didn't really comprehend that.
Always works for a podcast. Are you the youngest person at the academy?
No. There's a girl called Ruby there who is my friend. I invited her as a joke, and I did think she'd say yes. So she's come along now. She's been there for like 6 months. So she's just younger than me. And then there's Dom, who is nearly 17, I think. And then you've got Ollie Robson, who debuted at the last show. He's 15.
Yeah, he looks like he should be in preschool. I saw it and I was like, that's not a wrestler. Behave yourself. But he's very
he looks
talented.
so young, but he's so good. He's very good.
He is, yeah. Like, before he gives me any stick, like, supremely talented, mate. Supremely talented. But what's amazing about Reach is you do have such a great blend, and everybody who comes on this podcast talks about the diversity and the difference in so many different people. You know, you've got guys like, for instance, you've got Redwood and Silverback, these leviathans, and then on the flip side of things, you've got LA, and you've got Joey Silverman over there, and you've got Carl Parker doing some Photoshop stuff over there or whatever he's doing these days, because he's such a shitbag, but I love him.
He's so funny though. Like,
he's
the
the heel.
Love him or hate him, but you can't deny that he's funny. Like, he's so he's always has me laughing.
Who's your favourite?
My favourite.
Yeah, who's the go-to
for real? But Kayfabe's dying, right? LA, definitely.
LA
he's
Taylor.
always there. But yeah, she is my go-to person, like inside and outside the ring. Like, she's so good, and she always on my back. If I ever need something, she's literally the go-to person to talk to.
She seems like the leader in a lot of ways of the. Like, a lot of people have said Joey Seven tends to be quite a big leader as well, like outside of the trainers on the male side of things, but on the female side of things, it definitely feels like LA Taylor is kind of leading that charge. Is that fair to say that that's probably why she's kind of, you know, charged in there and had all these amazing opportunities, because she's kind of leading by example and setting a great example for the rest of you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, the two locker room leaders are definitely like Joey and LA. Like, they're both really good, and like they both generally care about everyone else getting like on their level, really. Like, so we all want to be like them, like in a way, like get booked, not like be them, but be as like good as them. Basically, be able to get in the ring with them. Like, we've all like discussed like dream matches in the academy, and all the guys want to face Joey because he's great. So good.
My dream of Silverback, just because I know he can murder me. You know, I just like the idea of wrestling someone who's bigger than me. I would wrestle Redwood, but I think it's just a step too far for me. Although I like his musical side. That makes me feel better about him. He seems like the gentlest human being until he gets in that ring and destroys you. But that's actually a good question I wanted to ask. How vicious is Adira when she hits?
She hits very, very hard. Like, probably the hardest out of everyone there. And like, when we do like training matches, everyone's like, oh, we get partnered up. We do like a bit of intergender during training. So everyone's like, oh shit, he's gonna get put with Adira today. Like, he's gonna have the sore, the stiff neck, and everything. And I remember like when we practiced a little bit for the return, like my first match, I had no idea that everyone wasn't joking when they said she hit hard. I just thought it was a joke. Like, she just looks really tough. Like, okay, sure, she hits hard. Get in there, and she accidentally broke my braces. She hit me that hard.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had a wire stuck in my gum for like 3 weeks because there was no appointments available. I just had to, every time she hit me, I was like, yeah, this is. But like, you just gotta take it on the chin, really. But yeah, she if you hit her hard back, she will be gentler on you. But if you hit her like a pussy, basically, you're gonna get hit so much harder.
Oh, okay, I remember
being hit.
She likes being hit. Fair
she
enough.
Likes it. I mean, she likes it.
She likes a bit of violence. And yeah, she said, I mean, hell, she talks about violence a lot on her social media. So fair play. It's lovely. She backs it up. So I'll tread carefully if she ever comes on the podcast.
Yes.
So let's talk about your process. So you've been in the academy for a reasonable amount of time now. You're becoming, more well known. You've made your debut. You've had some quite cool moments already, like the Battle Royal. There's this beautiful rivalry that seems to be blossoming between yourself and Jason. Because you're so young, how's the whole mental side of things? Is it easy to take it all in, or do you just find yourself kind of in awe of everything all the time? Like, I'm very lucky. I'm a miserable old man, so whenever something cool happens, I don't take it for granted. I'm just like, okay, cool. I just kind of stop and assess that moment. Do you find it quite easy to do that, or do you sometimes feel a little bit blown away by everything at such a young age?
I'm very much still in that young age phase where I'm like a little bit blown away by it. Like, I didn't expect to have my first match when I did. I thought they were joking. I was like, yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm not ready for that. But like, they kind of like boosted me up. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was very like in the moment, like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. This is gonna be great. And then the whole like feud with Jason, I didn't expect that at all. He could have picked anyone in the academy. I was just like, all right, this is not what I was expecting. So it's pretty cool to be like chosen. That started back in like October, like when he just had like a rant to me and Cam Braddon. Get on there, love him.
What
Great.
says that? I love Cameron. I really do. I feel bad for Cameron. I feel like he's getting picked on a bit at this point.
Oh, he's lovely, bless him. He's a very sweet young chap. So yeah, I was never expecting to have like this feud, and he was like, yeah, just go with it. I was like, all right. And next thing you know, I'm just calling him an old man on Twitter and giving him eye rolls, and then I never expected to actually eliminate him in the battle royal. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. That's probably like my favourite moment so far.
They do say pick on someone your own size, to be fair.
Hey, short jokes, love it.
Yeah, well, for him, yeah.
He won't love it, but
He won't, but he'll take it because he's got no choice, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely got no choice.
He's still yet to come on the podcast, Mr. King. I get the distinct impression he's ducking me. So it is. I imagine Grayson will be a little bit more forthcoming in that regard. That's a good question for you. Who's the better trainer? Who's the trainer that you go to first, Jason or Grayson?
We can't pick between those two. No.
You'd be surprised because other people did.
It? Ooh. Yeah, I have the balls to do
From
that.
a kayfabe standpoint, who's obviously going to pick Grayson because you don't want to be training with Jason when you're building up to such a big fight, do you?
They're both good at different things. That's the hard part. Like moves wise and like generally wrestling, it's Reeves. He's so good in the ring, and then like performance side, you want Kingy. So it's difficult. But I talked to both of them outside of training, so they're both lovely guys. They call them the dads. You got angry dad and happy dad. It depends which one. They could both be both. Like one day Reeves will be happy dad, and one day he'll be grumpy dad. You win some, you lose some. But TikTok dancer, definitely Reeves. Kingy can't dance at all.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think it was on your TikTok actually. You and Grayson busting out a couple of moves. I was actually very impressed. He did. I didn't have him down as a TikTok man at all, Mr. Grayson. Like,
the thing is,
we affectionately call him B-Tech Chris Hero, and I expect him to start throwing forearms during a TikTok. That's what I expect.
It's very surprising because everyone assumed that it was my idea, but no, all the TikToks that have been made were in fact his idea. We showed up early to training. He's like, do you wanna do this TikTok? I was like, what? Like, you wanna do this TikTok? I'll teach you how to do it. I was like, okay. His hair is so long. Like, my hair is longer than mine, and it's crazy. And I'm constantly moaning at him to brush it because he doesn't do that. Exposed. Brush your hair, Reeves.
Brush your hair, Grayson. I'm jealous of his mane. He looks
pig.
like a lion. He looks beautiful. He's
low
low key.
Lusciously long hair.
Yeah, he's a gorgeous man. Don't tell him I said that, but he's let me take you back to your debut. What's that process like? How did you feel? What was it like being in a ring? But also, like, for instance, LA Taylor, she spoke to me about her debut. Now, she comes across as such a powerful and strong and independent human being, which I'm sure she is. But at the same time, she spoke about the nerves and the dread that can come through.
Yeah.
Aurora, for instance, is a really good example of that, bless her. Like, an amazing, awesome athlete, but she spoke to me very candidly about anxiety and things of that nature. How did you feel on the day? What's the build-up process like? Take us through the day of your debut.
The day of the debut, I was basically shitting it all day. It was horrid. I was so nervous. Like, I was like, I don't want to mess up. And like, I had the match down when we planned it, so I knew I had it, but I was just worried that I was going to forget it. So as soon as I got in there, it's like putting up the ring, I was like shaking basically. I was so terrified because it's not every day you just casually get in a ring, like especially with Dira, like that's terrifying. And they're going through like the run order, and we were pre-mained, so I was like, right, shit, I know I'm going to be nervous backstage. Like I know I'm going to be like terrified. So like one by one, everyone was going out, and I was literally just hopping up and down, like trying to stay calm and it wasn't working. I remember like panic eating a tub of Pringles to myself, like, and then I found some chocolate. Like that didn't help. I thought sugar, that'll just ease you down a bit. No. It kind of made it worse. So I was literally just kind of like pacing basically. And like Reese was like, you need to calm down. I'm like, I'm terrified, pal. Like it's not that simple. And I remember they started playing Adira's music. I was like, right, well, I can't back out now. It's too late. You've got to go out there. And they played mine. And I was like, oh, shit. And I was like, okay. And then I realised as they played music, I've never done an entrance before. I don't know how to do an entrance. We'll have to wing this. It's like, right, you're baby face, just be proper cringe. That's all I was telling myself. So I just come out like the classic like cheer, high five everyone. I did some weird like bow thing. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, right, not doing that again. That was a bit gross. I remember as soon as I got in the ring, I was literally just terrified. I corpsed. Aurora's mum said something. I can't remember what he said, but it was so funny. I actually went, I was like, oh god, no, shush. Like, don't do that. Proper corpse. But the match itself, I really enjoyed it. It was such a good like adrenaline rush. Like I didn't expect the pop I got, but yeah, it was like hands down crazy. I really enjoyed it, and to be in there with Adira as well, like someone who like at training, like we're all really close anyway, but we spent like a good like 4 weeks just like in the ring together just to get used to each other, and it was so good. Like I would happily do it again, to be honest. I really like Adira. To kick my ass, like she do end me in like 2 seconds, but she's wicked. She's so good, and it was like a nice like wholesome moment because it was her first match back and it was my first match, so we were just like, we're gonna remember this one. So it was really lovely.
Since then, you seem to have really developed this amazing rapport with people, like the crowd and your style of wrestling. Like you seem to have found a niche and a character very quickly, and sometimes it can take years to even develop what you want to be. And you seem to just hit the ground running in that way. Have you always had an inkling or an idea of what kind of character you would like to be inside the squared circle?
I always knew I was going to be a face because I'm not very evilish looking. I'm not terrifying. I'm literally a small child, basically. So I was like, right, I'm not going to be a very convincing heel. So we like always thought face. But I always liked the idea, like the whole like Rey Mysterio was tiny, Daniel Bryan was tiny. I loved the whole like underdog story. That was always something I really enjoyed. So I was like, I really want to do that. And I remember like just saying who my favorites were to Jason and Grayson, and they're like, yeah, that'll be good for you. Like be the ultimate like underdog, very baby face, you know, just get people behind you. And that's always what I wanted to do, like be the short one, like the whole David and Goliath story, but obviously that didn't always work out. But yeah, I always wanted to be like, the small person you wouldn't expect to win, you wouldn't expect to do wrestling. Like I never saw an ask, oh, you're a wrestler. Like I get that a lot. They go, you don't look like one. I always get that. So always.
I'm not sure whether that's offensive or not. I mean, I guess it's funny because for years before I even started training, people would come up to me and say, excuse me, you're a wrestler? I'm like, no, I bloody wish. So I'm not sure I mean, for the kind of character that you're going to, I suppose that might be in some ways a compliment. How's the training process? Because Reach Academy is so different to anyone else, and every single person talks so vividly about what they give you and what they put you through. And it's one of those things where they put you through a lot, but they give you a lot more than other places. Yeah,
it was very hard. Like the cardio, I was never like unfit. Like I was a little bit chubby at one point, but like I was always very sporty, so I was always used to like running and playing a sports. But like the cardio there, and I started on a Saturday, and they used to go easy on a Saturday. They would give you less cardio, but they used to have this rule when we didn't have our own unit. The rule was if you don't get the ring up in 30 minutes, you've got to do 100 burpees. And I didn't realize that they weren't joking. So I remember like we'd always come close, and we only actually got it up in 30 minutes once. So we're constantly doing 100 burpees, and that builds up, and especially when you're not used to it. I was sick constantly for months. Like my first few months, I was always sick doing cardio. We did do 100 burpees. We had to do bear crawls, running, like all this stuff. And it was so horrid. But like, I'm so much better for it now. And the cardio is very different. We've got the unit now, so we don't really do 100 burpees anymore unless they really want to test us. So now we have a fitness test, which we do every like 6 weeks, and you've got to like aim to beat your time each time you do it. And I remember I beat my time by 4 minutes last time, so I was really happy. But
very
cardio,
impressive.
it was very, very difficult, and it was very windy, so it was very hard to run at the end when you got wind like blowing right in your face. But yeah, daily, like at training sessions, we do like a good like rounds cardio. So you do like a minute of squats, a minute of lunges, a minute of mountain climbers, a minute of burpees, a minute of like plank, and it changes each week, so you're not getting used to it. So we do that, and I used to go to 5 sessions a week. So I would do that a good 15 minutes of that each day, and I'm yet to get blown in a match. Like, we do a lot of training matches, and I know now to just pick spots to breathe.
The sheer nature of wrestling is that physicality. It is, people. I mean, the thing that always sticks in my mind is Astrid the Viking telling me cardio is cardio, and she's not wrong. As a big powerhouse herself, you are, as we've said countless times already on this podcast, very young, very small in stature. However, powerful, and that shows in your physique and your training and your abilities in the ring. How hard was the learning curve? How long did it take before you said to yourself, I'm starting to get to a point now where I can tolerate this, where it's almost become part of the conditioning?
I got a lot of the tech stuff down pretty easy, but moves wise I had no confidence at all, so I was terrified to do everything, and I hated anything that involves jumping. Well, I didn't do any of the moves I do now because I was terrified of heights. I couldn't comprehend. I can't talk. Couldn't function. We'll go for that one instead. How to do things. And it wasn't until I went to Norwich and spent a week there that I kind of gained the confidence to do that stuff. Because you don't want to mess up in front of the night, because that's terrifying. You kind of just have to do it. So I remember coming back and everyone was like, oh, she's really good now. And I remember just being really surprised, because it took that basically to make me realize that I can do this and that I wanted it so much. So I was constantly listening, constantly asking for what I can do to improve. And I remember if I still can't do a handstand, and each and every week, yeah, I know you can do it, because I'll do one and then the rest will be terrible. So he's like, I know you can do it, but my brain will tell me I can't. So some things will stick, a lot of it will, but small things I can't do, and it's silly things as well, but things you do need for wrestling.
Talk to me about WAW. Not every wrestler, especially in this country, has the opportunity to not only go and visit the Knight family and their training facility, but also have the opportunity to work alongside them or in front of them, like you say. What's that experience like? That must be invaluable. And kind of like, did you find yourself sort of thinking, oh my God, those guys are in a film? Is that kind of thing?
It was a little bit like that, yeah. The first day we were there, I would just be like, Soraya Knight walked in, I was like, oh my God, okay, you can't leave now, like it's happening. And at this point I wasn't very good. I'd only been like training 5 months, and I wasn't the greatest back then. So I remember like walking in, and all these people had so much experience compared to me, and my brother came with me, and he had like done nothing. So it was like me and Jackson Shaw, a guy called 16 Plus from Reach, and then my brother all came up from Plymouth. And I remember just being so nervous, and like, even though Jackson Shaw is a bad guy, he was so lovely that whole week to me, because he really helped me through it. And I was so nervous to do anything in front of the Knights. We did a promo class with Zach Knight, and I cried like a baby because I got annoyed at myself. It wasn't like upset tears, it was like angry tears, like, you're such an idiot kind of thing. And he was like, it's fine, it's chill, everyone does this, crazy. So I was like, oh my God, you're such an idiot, you just cried in front of Zach Knight. But it's terrifying, because these people you look up to, and I remember like the last day you got partnered up and you had to do a match in front of them all. So that was in front of Ricky Senior and Junior, Sweet Soraya and Zach. And I got a lot of praise, and I was not expecting it at all. And I remember, this will stick with me for like forever, by the way, because it's freaking cool. I remember Soraya being like, I see a lot of myself in you and all that kind of thing. Like when you're 17 years old and you're hearing that from one of the people you look up to the most, that I was just like frozen, like, oh my God, this is, nothing can like be better than this. This is so cool. And it was a really, really, really great experience. There was loads of people there as well. There was these American guys there who taught me how to do most of my moveset today. Like the satellite DDT, I learned from a guy called Bradley Jackson and Letty Cruz. And this guy called George Cabrera, he taught me how to do the jumping Aeron Rana. So it's like some really cool people there that have really helped me out to get where I am today. And that whole experience for the nights, I will never forget it. I go up as much as I can now. I've been up 3 times since that summer. So they're all really lovely. And they look terrifying. But
yeah, they do.
They're the best guys. They're freaking cool. Like, so cool.
What would being so young, what would your advice be to somebody around your age range? Would it be to do what you've done? And also, as a kind of side question as well, we know it's valuable, obviously, so I'm kind of asking this facetiously, but how important is it to go and train elsewhere and travel around the country and see different styles and work with different people? Because, you know, some people might think, oh, you know, I'm doing okay just being here, but ultimately this is a carnival circus mentality. This is a performance-based environment where you need to travel, and ultimately, if you're going to get any bookings, you got to travel. You know, you got to jump in a car together. You got to do all that stuff. That's what we all do. And tell me how much more important and how much more valuable that feels now that you've had that experience. I imagine for you that opened a lot of mindset for you and made you realise, wow, okay, look at the level of improvement that came from just spending a weekend in Norwich.
Yeah. So each school teaches you different things. Just like WAW does a lot of old school British tech, and like things you won't really learn in any other British school. And going up there and doing well, like it opens your eyes a lot. But in order to do well in this business, in my opinion, you kind of got to try yourself in all these different aspects. You've got to try everything, get your name out there, travel to all these different schools, and just see what it's like, because you can't like shit on it until you've tried it, basically. So I really want to go to Dragon Pro at some point. I really want to go to Eve's training school at some point as well, just to see what it's like. You know, get your name out there as well, because the more places you go, the more people that know you, and the more people that know you, the more chances you are like getting booked. It's like loyalty is great, and it's a great thing to have. Like you can train with someone for like 3 years and be loyal to them, but if you're primarily staying there only, you're not really going to get that far, in my opinion. But you've got to try other places, try everything else.
Yeah, it's something that I've upset people with in the past, I've said, but my advice has always been to people that just remember that you are an independent wrestler. And ultimately, being independent means that you look after yourself first and foremost, and loyalty to a certain academy is fine. And obviously, I'm not saying at any point that people should jump ship from Reach, because in my opinion, I believe it to be arguably one of the very best academies in Europe, never mind England. But from a mental standpoint, for so many people, it's important to build your own identity, and I think that's really coming back to Reach Academy. That's what they really instill in you from a get-go, is that we're going to give you the opportunity to swim, and if you sink, that's on you. And
100%.
Nobody seems to be sinking. And I think that is testament to the hard graft, the level of work, but also the understanding, the intricacies of teaching that Grayson and Jason have done. Like, don't get me wrong, we have a good time ripping on these guys relentlessly, and they give us a lot of shit back. But genuinely, the level of respect I have for the intricacies and the work and the detailed planning that they put out, I've not seen that at any other training school, and I haven't experienced it personally, but I've heard enough of it and seen enough of it, and the proof is in the pudding with the shows that you guys do. For you, what's the next step in your wrestling career?
Ooh, that's a good question. The next step is, for me, I'd say in Reach is to just see what I can do there, see who I can face. I want to get as much experience at Reach as possible, because at the end of the day, it is my home. Like, it will always be like my favorite place probably ever to wrestle and train. But I'm definitely going to go up to Norwich again, back up to WAW. I really enjoyed having a match up there. That was great. And I think I'm going to, as soon as this lockdown's done, I've got quite a bit of money saved up now. I'm going to try my best to go as many different training schools this year as possible. Like, I really want to go to Mike Bird's one at Catch 22. Like, I want to try those different places just to see what it's like. I want to meet new people. Like, I definitely wouldn't be who I am today if I really can't talk today, having not met the guys at the academy, because they're freaking awesome. So, like, if every school's like that, it's only going to be like ups. I look forward to meeting all these new people and like learning from them as well, because you can learn so much in a ring, but it's what you learn outside the ring as well that's really important.
The nature of this podcast demands that I ask you some stupid questions, which I will do. So that's good. We tend not to be too serious here, as people know, and I will ask you some multiple choice questions in a moment. However, leaning towards the social media aspect of things, where can people find you first and foremost?
So I am on Twitter, Instagram, and I have a Facebook page. My Facebook page is just Echo Reed. Twitter is echo.read.pw. No, that's underscore. Instagram is dot. I'm a confusing person. So Instagram is echo.read.pw. Twitter is the same, but instead of dots, full stops. What an idiot. I haven't been to school in a while. Underscores. That took a while to get out.
Trust me. It's been a lot longer since I went to school than it is you. I can say that much.
True. Yeah, I've literally been gone like a whole month, so it's crazy.
Okay, well, first and foremost, for anyone listening, check out her social media, because she's awesome and funny and really amusing. And also, she's constantly moaning about being bored on her Instagram story. Let's get into the most important matter, because, career and everything, that's cool. But we want the hard-hitting questions. We want the hard-hitting answers. And we're going to start with an absolute belter. So I want you to pick one of the two in each case. And there is no sitting on the fence here. You will be judged and you will be mocked accordingly via the podcast should you decide to sit on the fence for any questions. Believe me, okay. I will come through these and I will come at you. So we'll ease you into the process and it'll get harder as they go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Good choice. Very
Only
good choice.
Just. I love both.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix. I'm very rarely on YouTube. Netflix for the win.
Although, ladies and gentlemen, now is a good time to promote the fact that the Wrestle Plug is now available on YouTube. You should like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more notifications. Sorry, had to get that in there. Cake or pie? Sweet or savoury? Are you a fan of Bake Off?
Not really. I'm a bit young for Bake Off. That's my excuse. Not really. I just really like cake. I'll be honest. I literally had a slice of cake before I came on this podcast.
What cake was it? Just out of curiosity.
It was a classic chocolate cake, but I've lived off muffins this lockdown. To be honest, I've had like 2 muffins a day.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
I am a walking muffin. The successful diet of a wrestler. Yep, muffins for the win. Muffins and chocolate. That's what I've
muffins of Five Guys. Come to think of it, now I know why I'm not going to be as successful as everybody else in wrestling. Muffins and Five Guys. Swimming or sunbathing?
Oh, swimming. Sunbathing's boring. Swimming's fun.
Yeah, I like that answer. Everyone always goes for the sunbathing. I think it's because as a wrestler,
really?
You don't get an opportunity to relax much. So I think people probably go for the sunbathing aspect. Either that or there's just not much of a good tan going on down in Cornwall.
Probably not, no.
Does
Can't
he really
be that man's tan?
Spray tan? Oh, Joey. No.
I don't know. I actually don't know. All I know is he's got the best tan at Reach. He's beaten Jace. Jace is fuming. Jason King does not like being beaten with a tan. He is the small tan man.
Yeah, but he looks like a bottle of Sunny Delight. Just saying. I'm just saying. It's very well. Mind you, nobody's beating a man like Bino. Did you see Bino?
That tan. Whew. That was something.
Football or basketball?
Ooh, football.
Good choice.
Hands down.
Do you have a football team?
I don't really watch it so much. I used to be on the girls' football team, but I like playing it. I get bored watching it. No offense, sorry. Don't jump down my throat.
Oh, everyone says rugby. Rugby union or rugby league?
Union.
Good choice. Yeah, glasses or contacts? Too young to even. That was great.
I know what glasses
Yeah.
are.
Just going full macho man on it. Oh yeah. This is great stuff.
I'm very much a weird person, so you're going to get a lot of that.
Hamburgers or tacos? That's a Five Guys. You're gonna. Yeah,
of course,
say.
repping the Five Guys.
I was gonna say brand ambassador, man. Oh, just out of pure curiosity, you get a discount on food.
I get free food when I'm working, and then my managers like me, so they often give me like free fries or a free drink when I go in, but when I'm not working. But we don't get like discounts usually.
Oh, okay. It's not like you just walk up to the counter and order. Like
We just get special treatment. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get me a job there. Absolutely.
It's so good. I really like the job.
Literally, I think they would have to give me a blood transfusion because it would be replaced by their banana milkshake. It's just
Oh,
unnecessary.
the
at this
banana
point.
ones are so good. I really like the banana ones.
Yeah, that's my favourite.
Great choice.
Right, let's ramp it up a little bit. Joey Seven or Joel Redman?
Oh no, that's a hard question. In what way? Are you talking like in general or like in wrestling?
In whatever way you would like to take it.
I'd say Joey Seven just because I know him better. Know him better. That makes more sense. Know him more. Good English.
Would you rather take a forearm from Adira or get hit by a Mack truck?
Ooh, that's actually harder than it sounds, to be honest.
They're both very logistically similar.
Very gonna hurt a lot. Ooh, let's go a forearm from Adira. We've experienced that at least.
She's going to have a massive, massive head if she keeps listening to this podcast because we're always putting over how hard she is.
She's so good.
She is. I'm a huge fan. I really like my violent heels, so I'm like very big fan.
She's wicked.
Terrifying, iced
but
coffee
wicked.
or hot coffee? Have you found yourself getting into the caffeine stage of things yet?
I don't like cold coffee. I like hot coffee though. Like a latte.
What's your go-to coffee?
Can't beat a latte. If I want something sweet, then I go to Starbucks. They have better sweet drinks.
They do, don't they? Their frappes just that much
Their
better.
frappuccinos are really good.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed by coffee.
If it's cold coffee, then I go to Starbucks. But hot coffee, I go to Costa.
Yeah, make mine a large vanilla latte, and we'll call it a day. This podcast is just ridiculous. Yeah. I told you, we asked the hard-hitting questions. Are you an Xbox or a PS4 girl?
PS4. Got a PS4.
Oh.
My brother's got both, but he's a people pleaser, that's why. But nah, PS4.
He's a people pleaser because he's got both consoles.
He'll have both. He's like the split factor between his mates. One half has Xbox, one half has PS4. He's got both. He'll slide. He can't pick. Indecisive boy.
Yeah, but he's also smart because that means he's got a much bigger social, gathering. So
he's really unsociable because he doesn't leave his house because he's always on one of them.
that's true. It's a catch-22 if I've ever heard of one. Okay, a lot of your reputation will be based on this next one because, there is only one right answer. Game of Thrones or Walking Dead?
Game of Thrones.
Oh.
I haven't watched Walking Dead fully. I haven't finished it yet.
Oh, crack on, mate. It's getting better. Don't be deterred by how bad it gets in season 6. Just keep pushing through because it gets so much better. I assure you of that. And there's a load of people screaming in a podcast right now going, it doesn't get better, it's shit. That's not true. Ignore those people. Ignore those voices. Follow through with it. But I understand either one is pretty special, to be honest. Ninjas or pirates?
Oh, pirate.
What do you see yourself being? Do you think you'd rather be a pirate than a ninja?
Yeah. I find pirates are cooler.
They've got more range of fashion as well.
Yeah. Especially in England, you're more likely to be dressed as a pirate than a ninja. Unless you're being a ninja turtle, then that's just fun. I'm not very smart weightlifting-wise. I really just started doing upper body. I was really dumb when I first started going to the gym and mainly just did legs. So my legs are a lot stronger than my arms. So I've been going to the gym with Grayson now. and he's slowly getting me biceps and shoulders and all that shenanigan shit. I'm only now seeing results because he doesn't let me do the pussy weights, which is rude. I want to do the light weights, so he won't let me.
The pussy weights.
The pussy weights. You know, the girls that sit there with like 2s and it's rotten. He's like, no, you're doing like 10s. I'm like, oh, fine.
I got this image of Grayson at the local Pure Gym screaming at anybody all weights and yelling pussy weights at them, and then just shaming them into picking up massive barbells. that strikes me as he's a big, powerful lad, though. He's
terrifying. He's huge. I didn't talk to him for like nearly a month when I first started. I was terrified of him.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
I've only met Grayson once in person, and he literally just walked past, slapped me on the back, and just said, "You're right, mate." And he was just, and from that one interaction, I got the vibe of a very cool person. So
he's lovely, but he was just big. He was huge back then, so I was terrified. I was like, "This guy's gonna kill me if I mess up once."
We shall move to wrap it up. AEW or WWE?
Controversial. I would say WWE just because I haven't really watched a lot of AEW. I watched like the first pay-per-view when it started, and that was literally it.
Oh, it's definitely worth it if you can check it out. Absolutely. It's well, I mean, any wrestling is good. Like, if it's good wrestling, it's good wrestling. It doesn't matter what brand it's got. Just out of curiosity, who is your favorite wrestler?
Oh, that's difficult. I'd say, like, growing up, it was Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy because they were just crazy. They're just insane. But like, now that I've watched a lot more wrestling and I kind of understand it a bit better, I'd probably say Shawn Michaels overall.
Boo.
Great. Really? You not like him?
Oh no, I love Shawn. Shawn Michaels is, in my opinion, and this is very hard for me to say, in my opinion, the greatest all-round performer in the history of wrestling. However, Bret Hart is my hero, and for obvious reasons.
I do like Bret Hart.
Yeah, if you watch any kind of things that pull back the curtain, you know, any kayfabe shattering stuff like Wrestling with Shadows or Dark Side of the Ring, you'll understand why I'm not the biggest fan of Shawn Michaels, especially being a hard Bret mark. But there is no question when it comes to the in-ring ability and the validity of who he is as a star. He is untouchable, frankly. What about in the current roster? Who's catching your eye, wrestling-wise? Is there anybody you look at and think, oh, I'd love to be like that, or I'd love to really take elements of what that person does and apply that to?
I really like, in the women's division, as soon as Rhea Ripley came about, I really liked her. I thought she was really cool because she's huge and she's jacked as fuck. So, like,
does she not come across as LA Taylor a little bit? Do you not feel like LA Taylor and Rhea Ripley have
whole,
I
see the whole like resemblance because they're both like muscular, blonde, tall, and like wear black. So I get like the whole resemblance, and like they're both when Ripley was a heel, she was very like cocky. So I get the whole like similarities.
Who would you say if I had to force you into a corner and say you must pick one WWE superstar that you are most similar to? Who would you pick? I've got a good idea, but I want to know who you think.
I get told I'm similar to Tegan Nox.
Really?
Yeah. Like babyface, small, but can still hit hard.
Yeah.
But
yeah. In a similar vein, I'd say Caden Carter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up because I've warbled on long enough. You are more than welcome back on the podcast, though. As I say to everybody, particularly the young'uns, when you become famous, please come back and help us out with a few ratings, yeah?
Sure thing.
It is what it is. I suppose there's a final question, actually. One last question for you. Where would you ultimately like to be most? Like, if there's a dream scenario for you, maybe a dream matchup in a dream arena, paint the picture of where you would like to be.
Oh, that's hard. I really want to wrestle in Japan. That is like the go-to goal at the moment.
Wrestle Kingdom? Main event at Wrestle Kingdom?
Yeah, that would be sick.
Who's the dream opponent? It doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's high profile. It might be the case of you and Adira in the ultimate, rematch inside the Tokyo Dome.
That'd be sick. I'd say I really want to face B Priestley. That'd be insane. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, we it's a little sneak peek, but on one of our YouTube videos, we did a couple of YouTube videos, one for the men and one for the women, describing our perfect individual to build a company around, and I opted for Bea Priestley. I believe that she's the kind of individual that could build an entire company.
Yeah, she's so good.
Back. Yeah, she feels like a marquee talent. So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. In about 5 or 6 years' time, Echo Reed versus Bea Priestley in the main event at the Tokyo Dome. So I want to be able to shout "called it" from 10,000 miles away. So that'll be a good time. Echo Reed, thank you very much for coming on the Wrestle Plug. I really, really hope we can get you back one day. You are an absolute joy, like everybody at Reach, and everybody's got a very special place in their heart for all of you guys, and especially yourself. Thank you for taking the time to talk to this lunatic, and I have it on good authority that Steve sends his love as well, and hopes and wishes you nothing but success in the future.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I really enjoyed this. Happy to do it again someday.
There you go. Coming up next week, part 8 of the Echo Reed series. Honestly, thank you very much for your time. And we'll hopefully catch you very, very soon for more conversation on the Wrestle Plug.
Awesome.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was Echo Reed. Isn't she fucking awesome? Yeah, she is. And she is going to be a star, I can guarantee it, as is everybody at the Reach Academy. Let's be honest, nobody is doing a better job of churning out talent quite like the Reach Academy and Reach Wrestling as an independent promotion. So it's very important that you check out our social media links. And if you've forgotten them already, don't worry, they're in the description of this podcast. Make sure you follow her on Instagram and the Twitter. And of course, please ensure that you support your local independent artists, and most importantly your independent wrestlers and independent promotions, because they are striving and always have done, and we have been out in front on this podcast from the get-go saying that you should always support your local independent wrestlers. That is never going to change. Hopefully you enjoyed this interview, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you know, there is a lot more coming from the Wrestle Plug. Not just content, but also interviews in particular. We've got loads of things, reviews. We've even got a sister project coming in terms of a podcast that will be about something different, which you may have heard about on the latest State of Wrestling address. And if you haven't, I absolutely urge you to check out that podcast, as we did a deep dive on the WWE releases and all the contentious news coming out of wrestling at the moment. But as always, guys, wherever you are in the world, please look after yourselves, please wash your hands, please shut your ass, please look after yourself, please look after others as well. Make sure you check in with the vulnerable, make sure you try and be kind to each other, and just be sensible. Only go outside when you absolutely must. And like I say, if you're really struggling with anything, mental health wise, or being self-isolated, quarantine, COVID-19 and the like, we are available to talk to. Our DMs are open. You can tweet us, you can get on board, you can come and join us, you can listen to our podcast completely free of charge across every single social media platform at Wrestle Plug, of course, if you want to interact with us. And we are available wherever you get your podcast. From myself, Aeron Nix, and everyone involved in the Wrestle Plug, thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much to Echo Reed for joining us, and we will catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug. Yeah.